and welcome back to the Geek Show. So we're on to part 2, which talking about characters of Phase 4.
Yes, I mean there's plenty of new characters, like we've just discussed this, that there's lots of new fresh faces that we're all very excited to meet and get to know.
And then it also gives a lot of fresh perspective and a lot of old favourites.
I mean, it's just preparing us to cry when they eventually will die at the end of Phase 4, probably. Cause that's
Well, I mean, I've already cried at a bunch of the deaths, and yet some will come back. Like, well, Black Widow, for example, came back. And then, Loki got his own TV show. Which, oh my god, that TV show. It was good, but there were some interesting things behind it, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, it's given, I think we're saying it's a new lease of life. For some of the old characters, for example, Loki with the TV show.
Out of my top 10 characters, like 8, well, don't know one about one of them, but 8 potentially are getting completely, like, new looks and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Like, when I get to see comic book accurate costumes.
Yeah, you want to talk about this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I like to see, a comic book basically come to life, but will it clash a bit with Marvel's? I mean, Marvel is starting to do more realism in its movies, I would say. Like, I think we've talked about the Eternals again. Everyone was living in drab, dark London town, and then suddenly they've got these bright, spangly costumes on. Yeah, like I love costuming. I think you've heard me rant far too often about costuming.
Yeah. I would say rant. I just sit and listen.
I mean, I could basically probably have my own show on Radio Caley about talking about costumes, but let's
Should
not
we pitch
torture.
that? Maybe we should pitch that as an idea.
That's not. Like, it does not torture the listeners any more than they already are. So yeah, we're getting the bright colours and great patterns. Like,
well, the visuals of the new ones are amazing. I mean, Shang-Chi and No Way Home are up for best visuals at the Oscars.
Yes.
And another shout out, I guess, for Eternals. The visuals of that are pretty amazing.
I know. I think that's the thing is Marvel. I mean, this is something people probably complain about a little bit, is they're maybe not focusing too heavily on character motivation. They're now starting to look at... They want you to have feast for your eyes, basically.
Yeah, because I was thinking, so Shang-Chi, I get why it's up for visuals, because it is visually stunning, like the cinematography is amazing. But I was thinking, why No Way Home? There wasn't anything in particular. And then I was thinking, then I realised most of it was actually set in green screen. So it's actually the fact most of the sets are all CGI, and then the old villains are CGI to look younger.
I mean,
I guess stuff like that.
I always do get a little bit creeped out by Deaging.
But in No Way Home, it was really well done with like Doc Ock and Green Goblin.
I think I've always said that CGI is brilliant when you've not got a physical character made out of CGI. Jar Jar Binks.
Oh no!
But like
trauma.
I think that's the thing is people don't realise quite how often what they're seeing for backgrounds or for at least small details, and most of it's CGI. Like, if you ever watch these videos where they're like, yeah, we're just going to take away all the visuals and you'll be amazed.
Mm-hmm.
And you will end up being amazed. Like, there's a building there that's not actually there in real life or something like that.
Yeah, so in terms of characters, are there any characters that are like going to be introduced or rumoured to be introduced that you're looking forward to?
Right, what have I got to look forward to? I mean, I'm looking forward to actually meeting the Celestial, Arishem. The sound for him in the cinema made me afraid of him. Like, I think it's something I always... Well, again, I ran about a lot of stuff behind the scenes, to be honest. I love, like, listening to and hearing French horns and boom. You're physically... I'm not doing a great impression right now, listeners, but, like... Yeah, there's something in your stomach, you feel unsettled. So I'm looking forward to actually getting to see the Celestials. I know I ranted about it a little bit, but with Harry Styles obviously coming on as
Oh
Euros.
my goodness, I completely forgot you've done that. I was sitting there in crazy when he appeared and I was like, sorry, is this some sort of like prank? I was like, what?
I was like, this is just going to be him actually in disguise as Harry Styles.
Yeah, I don't know, I completely forgot he did acting and it kind of just, I don't know, it just took me out of that film for a little bit. I was kind of like, oh,
I'm interested to see what they do, and, he is meant to be a very evil villain,
Yeah. Did not have like a weird like leprechaun sidekick?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure.
It was like a really brief ending. For me, I'm just excited to have the XMen back.
Oh yeah, like Patrick Stewart is
He basically confirmed it the other day that it was him.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be good to see the X-Men return, and especially they're no longer in Fox's hands, and whether that's for good or for bad.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be the original X-Men cast. Which
that's good.
They're
so
the more iconic
get, like,
ones, I guess.
Get Storm back.
Yeah, that'd be quite quick. Thor, Cyclops. I don't know if Hugh Jackman will come back as Wolverine. I'm pretty sure he's done after Logan.
Hugh Jackman has said he is done and dusted.
Yeah, so...
And, you know, Marvel could offer him a spaceship and he probably wouldn't.
And I'm guessing if Patrick Stewart's coming back as Charles Xavier, then I'm pretty sure Ian McKellen will also come back as Magneto. They're pretty close.
Like the classic Magneto Xavier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you can't have one without the other.
I mean, I would say that McAvoy and
Fassbender,
they're
also really good.
But I do always feel that they were kind of sort of emulating Stewart and McKellen. But you know, who knows?
Well, I mean, they are supposed to be, I guess, younger versions. Well, at first they were meant to be younger versions because it was set in the 60s, the first one. But then the timeline gets so convoluted. The X-Men. I could not tell you the timeline of the X-Men films. I love the films, but I could not tell you when stuff's supposed to happen. Yeah, you couldn't follow a
sustainable timeline with them, to be honest.
No, it's a bit of a weird one.
Any characters you're looking forward to? Or
I mean, I'm looking forward to having... Well, Daredevil is apparently going... he appeared in No Way Home. Even though it was only for like 30 seconds. I don't care. I was so happy to see that he was there. You know, I'm a really good lawyer. Like that's basically the whole premise of his character in that film. Was if I was a good lawyer, I was like, well, I mean, you are, but I mean, he's apparently going to be in the She-Hulk show. I don't really know much about that show. Is that correct? Apparently, season 4 of Daredevil is rumoured.
Right.
But it's not going for a couple of years. It's just going to be popping up in a few other shows.
I hate when they rumour it and then it takes years for it to
actually I'm also really excited to just have Wanda back, especially because she was great in WandaVision, and I've always loved Wanda. But I'm excited to see her in Multiverse of Madness because she's definitely being set up to be the villain.
Oh yeah, I would 100%. Love to see Wanda go full villain because she's a villain in the comics, isn't she?
Yes, I think it's the... I'm not even a comic nerd, but I think it's the House of M comic. She's like a proper villain. I could be wrong. I don't really read the comics.
It'd be interesting to watch, let's be honest. I think favourite characters wise for the whole of Phase 4 so far, I am probably going to have to put Katie from Shang-Chi.
I love Katie.
I was iffy because I'm not always sold on Aquafenix, but this one worked. Like, it wasn't like a love interest, it was just a pure friendship.
They are, like, her and Shang-Chi are like best friends. Yeah. I think people try to think they're a couple, and I'm like, no, they're not. They're not.
BFFs that like to go karaoke.
Oh, the karaoke scenes! Oh, that film is just brilliant. I rewatched it just for Christmas, and I love that film.
It's a good film. Like, it's a simple action movie, but there's also, you know, there's some good old fashioned Marvel daddy issues, because you know.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate villain.
There's always one parent that they have that goes badly evil or something.
Yeah, it's usually the dad.
Yeah, I guess for me as well, Spider-Man, the future of Spider-Man.
Yes.
In, 3 different ways, I guess, now.
Well, I think Zendaya's no longer returning.
No, so with Spider-Man, I'm going to talk about it a bit more in the No Way Home section we have next, but I mean, Tom Holland's Spider-Man obviously is going to continue to be films, but there's also, like, are the other two going to come back and do Spider-Man 4 or Amazing Spider-Man 3? There's the demand for it, especially Amazing Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I think there's a demand for it, but maybe it's nicer just to say goodbye to these characters.
However, just before we move to the next section, the Morbius trailer, so it's not MCU because it is Sony owned, but it's adjacent to the MCU because it's got Michael Keaton coming back as Vulture.
Basically, Sony is jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, which doesn't make much sense to me. I'm intrigued by this because he played Vulture in the MCU, and he is playing Vulture in this. But it is a different universe. I think it's the Venom universe people are thinking it is.
Yeah.
But in the background of the teaser trailer, there is a poster that has a picture of Spider-Man and it says Murderer scrawled across it. However, I don't know which Spider-Man it's going to be. I don't think it's Tom Holland's.
Right.
Because it looks like Tobey Maguire's suit. However, in No Way Home, it was Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man who's the one that said that he's like doesn't pull his punches anymore because he's still like, you know, grieving after Gwen and all that. So it's like, is it him? Is it Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man? I don't think it's Tom Holland.
It can't be Tom Holland. Tom Holland's Spider-Man hasn't gone through his emo phase yet.
No.
You know, he's not danced down the street. And I think also I recently saw the deleted scene, so you know how Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man was infected with the Venom?
No, it's Tobey Maguire's was.
Was it Tobey Maguire's?
Yeah, yeah.
It's Andrew Garfield's film.
No, he's not.
And maybe it was going to be that they were going to do. But yeah, he goes absolutely crazy on this person in an alley. And this poor guy is getting beaten to a pulp, and it's quite scary to see.
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll talk about this a bit more in the next section, but it's going to be interesting how Morbius is going to fit in Phase 4.
I'm just excited to see how everything pans out.
Yeah.
That's the main thing now with Phase 4 is there's nobody really too familiar.
Yeah.
But,
okay, so we'll talk about Spider-Man in the next section. We have a whole section for it. Sorry, Rose. But I love that film. So,
sorry, listeners.
Okay, so next up we're going to have Smells Like Teen Spirit, which is a cover by Malia J, which is actually the opening title song out of Black Widow.
Yes.